Weirdest deep sea creatures lurking beneath the waves. Peacock Mantis Shrimp. Found in the Indian and tropical western Pacific Oceans, the peacock mantis shrimp is a candy-colored crustacean known for its ability to quickly punch prey with its front two appendages. According to Oceana, the International Ocean Preservation Advocacy Group, this shrimp's punch is one of the fastest movements in the animal kingdom, so much so that it's strong enough to break an aquarium's glass wall. But no worries, they mostly only use their fists of steel to break open mollusks and dismember crabs. Frogfish. It's so easy to miss the frogfish, because these types of anglerfish, there are over 50 species of them, are nearly identical to their surroundings, mostly coral reefs. They resemble sponges or algae-covered rocks and come in pretty much every color and texture imaginable. Some frogfish even use their camouflage not to hide, but rather to mimic poison sea slugs. No matter their appearance, one thing all species of frogfish have in common is their strange mode of locomotion. Although they can swim, most walk along their pectoral fins, which have evolved into arm-like limbs, including a joint that resembles an elbow. Ribbon eel. Usually seen nestled into burrows around coral reefs, the ribbon eel, sometimes called the leaf-nosed moray eel, lives in Indonesian waters from East Africa to southern Japan, Australia, and French Polynesia. The juveniles start out black, with a pale yellow strip along the fins, and as they grow, transitions to a bright blue and yellow coloring. These eels are considered protrantic hermaphrodites, meaning they change sex from male to female several times throughout their lives. Christmas tree worm. Scientists found this strange creature at the Great Barrier Reef's Lizard Island and named it, aptly, the Christmas tree worm. The spiral branches are actually the worm's breathing and feeding apparatuses, while the worm itself lives in a tube. These tree-like crowns are covered in hair-like appendages called radioles. These are used for breathing and catching prey, but they can be withdrawn if the Christmas tree worm feels threatened. Box crab. Like so many other sea creatures, the box crab is a master of disguise. In this case, the crustacean, which mostly keeps to the seabed, buries itself beneath the sand, with just its eyes protruding from the mucky depths. One of the most fascinating aspects of the box crab's life cycle is its mating habits, which literally redefine what it means to be swept off your feet. When the male box crab has found its mate, it grasps onto her with its claws and carries her around the sea floor until she molds her shell. Nudibranch. With over 3,000 different species on record, the nudibranch is an extremely versatile kind of sea slug. These little guys are found pretty much everywhere, in both shallow and deep waters, from the North and South Poles, and into the tropics. There are two distinct kinds, dorid nudibranchs, which are smooth with feather-like gills on their back to help them breathe, and earlid nudibranchs, which breathe through a different kind of organ, also located on their backs, called serrata. Because the tiny nudibranch lacks a shell, it instead protects itself with bright camouflage, meant as a warning signal. But perhaps their wildest adaptation of all is the ability to quite literally swallow, digest, and reuse stinging cells from prey. Sea angel. Although they're called sea angels, these creatures are actually predatory sea snails. This particular specimen, Platybrachium antarcticum, flies through the deep Antarctic waters hunting the shell pteropods, another type of snail, on which it feeds, according to the Marine Census of Life. Sea angels have special parapodia, or lateral extensions of the foot, that help to propel them through the water. Gulper eel. The gulper eel, also referred to as the pelican eel, is named for its massive mouth and jaw, which helps them to swallow prey whole. They can grow up to 6 feet in length, and their huge mouths allow them to hunt down meals that are larger than them. This usually happens when food is scarce. It's believed that gulper eels usually eat crustaceans and other small marine animals. Giant squid. The giant squid, Architeuthis dux, is absolutely the stuff of nightmares. The largest one ever recorded came in at a whopping 43 feet long, nearly half the size of a blue whale. Earlier this year, scientists created a draft genome sequence for the giant squid in a bid to better understand it. With about 2.7 billion DNA base pairs, its genome is about 90% the size of the human genome. Beyond that, scientists don't know a whole lot about the giant beast or its habits, because most of what we know comes from their carcasses, which wash up on the shore. Most of the time, the giant squid lives in waters so deep that we never see them, adding to their intrigue. Monopus isopod. A virus. An alien? Nope. It's a Munopsis isopod crustacean, and even scientists haven't figured out more than that about this deep Southern Ocean denizen, yet. Isopods are ancient creatures. They've been on Earth, in one form or another, for 300 million years or so, with no backbones that have 7 pairs of legs. On land, you might be familiar with their cousin, the pill bug. Armored snail. There's no other snail in the world armored like the Chrysomelon swarmiferum, which lives over hydrothermal vents deep in the Indian Ocean. It goes by quite a few other names, including the scaly-foot gastropod, scaly-foot snail, and even the sea pangolin. Today, its multi-layered shell structure is inspiring stronger materials, from airplane hulls to military equipment. Bioluminescent octopus. One of the few known octopods known to use bioluminescence, or glowing with its own light, the Storoteuthis satensis octopus lives about 1 mile deep in the Gulf of Maine. It can position its photophores, light-emitting organs, to fall prey into swimming right into its mouth. Flamingo tongue snail. With a name like Flamingo Tongue Snail, and the flamboyant coloration to match, you might think this Sipholma gibbosum has a shell worthy of collecting. Not so. All of the flamingo tongue snail's color comes from the soft parts of its body, which envelop its shell. When threatened, it can retract its mantle flaps, exposing its true shell. Leafy sea dragon. Found along the southwestern coast of Australia, the leafy sea dragon, Phycodurus equus, uses its fins not only to propel itself through the water, but as camouflage to resemble a piece of drifting seaweed. Because they have pretty big heads compared to the rest of their body, leafy sea dragons are able to concentrate pressure at their mouth to suck in prey. Similar to seahorses and pipefishes, the males carry around fertilized eggs. But without a special pouch, the leafy sea dragon carries the eggs beneath its tail. Crossota norvegica jellyfish. Known for its vibrant red coloring, the Crossota norvegica is a kind of jellyfish collected from the deep Arctic Canada basin. It lives about 2,500 meters beneath the surface and uses ectodermal cells with nematocysts to sting prey. It's not exactly clear what these creatures feed on, but it's most likely a combination of zooplankton and phytoplankton. Goblin shark. Goblin sharks look scary as hell. The super rare creature can grow up to 15 feet in length and has the ability to thrust its whole jaw outward in order to capture prey. Fewer than 50 goblin sharks have been spotted since 1898, so if you're hoping to see one, chances are slim. Terrible claw lobster. Named Dinoceras orsabili for its terrible or fearful, dinos in Greek, claws, chela, this new species of blind lobster joins a very small list of cousins in the genus Thomastichelopsis. Only 4 other individuals, in 2 species, had been found previously, both in Australia. Scientists collected the specimen during the Aurora mission in 2007, led by the US and French Natural History Museums, and the Philippines Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources. That second part of its name, orsabili, is also significant. It's in honor of Jesse Orzubel, a co-founder of the Census of Marine Life. Pycnogonid sea spider. Found in the Antarctic, this male pycnogonid spider, or a distant relative of a spider, anyway, bears its own eggs. It has virtually no abdomen, yet has a leg span of about 25 centimeters, which means it's about on par, size-wise, with some of the largest spiders on land, like the Goliath bird-eating tarantula of South America. White margin stargazer. Perhaps the only other fish that could contend with the blobfish for the ugliest creature in the sea, the white margin stargazer, is a real tough guy that uses double-grooved poison spines above its pectoral fins to sting prey. As if that weren't enough, the stargazer also has electrical organs, contained in a special pouch behind its eyes, that allow it to sting prey with up to 50 volts. As for its name, the stargazer spends most of its time burrowed in the sand, with only its eyes protruding up to toward the surface. The Dumbo octopus. This grimper-toothed octopus, found over the mid-Atlantic ridge, is affectionately called Dumbo because of the way it flaps its ear-like fins to swim. Dumbo octopuses are known to be the deepest dwelling of the octopuses, as they live at depths of at least 4,000 meters, but often even deeper than that. Because these octopuses are naturally rare, they've developed unique breeding habits to increase the chances of producing offspring. For example, the females carry eggs at various stages of development, and can even store sperm inside their bodies for long periods of time after mating. Arctic hydromedusa. This hydromedusa, Bathychorus borni, is common in the deep waters of the Arctic, about 3,300 feet deep. The broader family of hydromedusae are so common, in fact, that they compose the largest group of cnidarians in the sea. Coming in at just a few millimeters to a few centimeters at absolute maximum size, though, they're far smaller than your typical jellies. But what really sets them apart from the jellyfish is their reproductive system. Hydromedusae produce both sperm and eggs outside of the body, underneath their squishy bow. Hydrothermal vent snail. Another hydrothermal vent snail, this Alviniconcha snail was found at the Suil seamount of the Tokyo hydrothermal vent. It's the only individual of its kind ever discovered. Red-spotted blenny. These algae-munching fish are mostly known to be peaceful, but when it comes to other members of their species, or at least those who aren't their own mates, the red-spotted blenny can be hostile, especially if kept in a tank. Just like tangs, they sometimes bite or full-on attack other nearby red-spotted blenny fish. They even take nibbles at corals and clams at times. Their native habitats are along coral reefs in the Pacific and Indian Oceans. Japanese spider crabs. These giant crabs are, as their name indicates, native to Japan, and are considered delicacies throughout the country. These guys can grow to be up to 12 feet long, and they are not picky eaters. In fact, the Japanese spider crab is believed to favor eating the bodies of other marine animals, because it means they don't have to kill anything themselves. Squirrelfish. The squirrelfish can only reach a max length of about 2 feet, but this creature packs some serious punch in its relatively small frame. Mostly nocturnal, these fish live at depths of between 100 and 600 feet below the surface, where they scan the sandy sea floor and grass beds for prey. The coolest thing about them: they can actually use their swim bladder to produce sounds for communication between other squirrelfish. Porcupine fish. Similar to their cousin, the pufferfish, the porcupine fish is covered in strong spines, and has the ability to swallow up water to puff up its body into an orb when threatened. This is helpful because it's pretty much impossible for predators to swallow a porcupine fish in full-on balloon mode. Even if a predator does manage to swallow it before it has the chance to puff up, it's still poisonous to most fish, meaning it's not a very good snack. Thornback cowfish. Technically a kind of boxfish, this guy has horns at the top of his head, but doesn't use them to bully others. However, in stressful environments, or if it dies, the thornback cowfish can become toxic. Lysianosauride amphipod. One of many new amphipods discovered by the marine sensors of life, this Lysianosauride amphipod inhabits the waters near Elephant Island in the Antarctic. Like other tiny crustaceans, amphipods, aka sea fleas, are a big source of food for larger creatures of the deep. Parrotfish. Ranging from about 1 foot to 4 feet in length, there are approximately 80 different species of parrotfish in an array of colors, scattered across coral reefs around the world. Their name comes from the fused teeth at the front of their mouth, which resembles a beak. Incredibly, Their scales are so tough that in some cases, even spears can't pierce through them. Sea pen. The orange sea pen, Tylosarcus guerniae, is actually a colony of animals that can withdraw into the soft sediment where it's found. Generally speaking, there are over 300 species of sea pens, named for their quill-like appearance. With stimulation, they glow with a green light. Napoleon wrasse. You can't really beat the description of this creature from the census of marine life. Exceeding 2 meters in length, the Napoleon wrasse, Chilenus angulatus, is one of the largest reef fish found in the warm waters of the Indian and Pacific Oceans. The intricate blue-green design that decorates the face resembles New Zealand Maori war paint, which is the root of its alternative name, the Maori wrasse. The designs are also unique to each individual, much like fingerprints. A protogynous hermaphrodite, this wrasse can change its sex from female to male. Sea nettles. The image of swarms of sea nettles, like these Chrysara fuscescens in Monterey Bay, California, is so intense that they've been bred for aquariums. They do have a sting, though it's rarely a health risk for humans.